Chief, were all the victims being treated outside? Were they all shot outside the home?
I'm not certain.
What do you know about the event? We've heard that there was some sort of a death earlier in the family, and this was a gathering where people were meeting.
That's my understanding as well, yes.
Do you know who died and how he was connected?
I do have some information on that, but let me just say this to you. We're at the beginning stages of this investigation. There is information that I have, but I don't want to stand before you and present some information to you that's inaccurate, okay? That's something that if you're interested in it, we can provide you with it at a later date on a press release when we've made sure that we've corroborated that it's in fact true.
I sent the sensor activations at 13 that house where the people were 13, so was the sensor at 13,
I think you answered your question with your question. Sure, yes.
What do you want the people of Syracuse to know tonight? I'll ask you first, the chief, and then Mayor Walsh. I mean, do you have suspects in custody? Is there any danger?
No, we don't have any suspects in custody. And what I want the people of the city of Syracuse to know tonight is that, you know, this is a very tragic event. And I told you that we had 5 victims, and one of which is an 8-year-old female, as we have established. And this is something that cannot occur in our community. And I can tell you right now that there are folks out there that knows information about what happened here tonight, and there's a lot of people that are standing out over to my left and right around me that are completely outraged. They're heartbroken over this, and this type of investigation deserves closure. And for those people who have information that may be helpful to us, no matter how small that information is, please contact us. You can use our TIPS app to communicate with us anonymously, or you could call the Criminal Investigation Division, also anonymously, at 315-442-5222. Any information that anyone has, please help us on this.
Is any of the victims in critical condition?
No, not at this time.
Are they expected to survive?
Yes, critical would be an indication that death is possible or imminent. So everyone at this point is stable. However, they still have a ways to go, and that could very well change. Just be aware of that.
Are multiple of the victims children? You said 8 to 35. In age range for the 5 victims.
How many are children?
We talked about the 8-year-old, and that's all I'm going to say in terms of the victims. And as I said in the very beginning, I'm going to be vague intentionally because of family notifications and things of that nature. I can't stand here and give you a lot of information that would be unfair to the families.
Mayor, what do you want the people of Syracuse to know tonight?
Well, just that tonight we're standing here on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue. But make no mistake, this senseless violence impacts the entire community. And it's just that, it's senseless. And I'm angry, the chief is angry, the people around us are angry, and I'm going to make sure that the chief has every resource at our disposal to find those that are responsible for this crime. And again, I implore the public to work with us, to help us, to bring these people to justice. This violence has to stop.
The history at this home with the gang connection, what's your concern about gangs in the city?
We're surrounded by human beings, by neighbors, by family members. They are hurting. That's what I'm concerned about.
Chief, we were hearing about a possible other shooting on Midland Avenue. Is that just a few blocks away?
That would be Furman Avenue, and that is indeed just a few blocks away.
Okay, what can you tell us about that one?
In that incident, a 14-year-old female was shot, and she's listed in stable condition.
I know the release said that there's no indication that these two are related. Has that changed at all?
We don't know. At this point, we don't know. As I said before, we're in the very beginning stages of this investigation, and our whole purpose of standing before you all right now is because obviously this gets the entire community's attention, and we're just coming before you to give you and the community the basic information that you need in order for you guys to support, in order for the community. suffered a gunshot
1 2.
in the city of Syracuse. That in and of itself, it makes things difficult for us.
Neighbors have indicated how chaotic it was when officers had to rush in and kind of figure out what was going on, figuring out who was hurt, figuring out who might be a suspect, even though they may no longer have been there. What can you speak to about those initial moments when officers first get to a scene and see that many people hurt on a front lawn?
It's challenging. You know, our first responsibility is for safety, to make sure that no one else gets injured, that first aid is rendered to those who are injured. And day after day, our officers, those young men and women, go flying into the face of danger without batting an eye, without pressing pause. They go right after it, and tonight was no different. So this is what they do.
Your officer slammed me down the stairs and I'm pregnant and I ain't do nothing.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Steph, we're going to use you for the
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my Twitter feed.
Honey? Zach. Okay, we'll get you something. Does he want me to stop? Do you want Maddie to stop or just keep rolling, right? Hold on, here's Brendan.
Hey dudes, we're about to put Zach in front of the camera. What are we live on?
No, this is more than This is Zach Lang live from the scene for CitrusTV News. Breaking news right here on the 1300th block of Midland Avenue, where we have reports of what is being called a mass shooting. There are 5 victims right now, according to Mayor Ben Walsh and Police Chief Frank Fowler. We just got some of the details, so I'm going to list them off for you right now. Right now, we're reporting that there was an event. It was supposedly a celebration of life. 30 to 40 people at this event, where what is supposedly across the street right behind me. As I said, I am live at the scene where shots were fired across the street, and as I said, there are 5 victims. The age range, 8 to 35 years. Now, that 8-year-old is a young girl. We have reports it is a young 8-year-old girl, age range 8 to 35. All 5 of the victims have been taken to Upstate Medical Hospital, where the police are right now. And I'm going to list off some more details, so bear with me right now. We just received the update, as I said, from Police Chief Frank Fowler and Mayor Ben Walsh are both here live at the scene. We just received the update at 11:15, and I'm going to say it again. 5 victims, all at Upstate Medical. The age range from 8 to 35. The police are currently at the hospital, and as of right now, I want to report there's another issue. We have no update on the conditions of those who are at the hospital right now. All right, Ben, so you're Brendan, you were here with me. What did you hear from Frank Fowler and from the Mayor Ben Walsh? What stood out to you so far right now?
Yeah, so it seems like they have more information they're sharing with the media right now because of family identification. The big issue is they want to make sure all family members of those that are injured are aware of their condition of their loved one before they release anything to the media. We do know there may possibly be some gang-related incidents to this house that the shooting occurred at. However, it does not appear that the police are willing to confirm any of that, and that if it has anything to do with the shooting at all. We also are hearing that everyone is in stable condition, but some are a little dangerous right now at an upstate medical center.
Right, we're going to bring in a map for you right now to show you we are at the 1300 Avenue of Midland Avenue. It is a very hot scene right now. Lots of media, lots of family members, and as Brendan just mentioned, emotions are very high. It was a celebration of life. 30 to 40 people here, 5 victims, age range 8 to 35, and that 8-year-old was a female. Now, Brendan, what else can you tell me from what the mayor said?
Yeah, from what the mayor said, it sounds like he's putting all resources of the city and the police department towards this investigation and figuring out what happened. They do not exactly know where the suspect is and what's happening with that, so they definitely do want anyone out there who knows any information about this to call 911 and report that.
Right, they did give the number to call and give any details, so if you want that number, look up the press release and you will be able to find the number. If you know any details, please call and update. Again, that's Police Chief Frank Fowler and Mayor Ben Walsh. And another thing, as Brendan touched upon, no one is currently in custody for this incident. Again, 5 victims, age range 8 to 35. That 8-year-old is a young girl. Now, Brendan, what else can you tell me about what Police Chief Frank Fowler said and how they're moving forward with this investigation?
Yeah, so Fowler said they're going to take the time this evening. They're going to scope every single blade of grass on that lawn, see if there's any shell casings that may have DNA on them, and figure that out. Then from there, they're going to scope out a little more, go across this whole block in the area, and then move out from there. See if there's any information that can lead them to the suspect, maybe a security camera or something like that, that can get them information, a license plate, an identification on someone who's possibly, as we're seeing Frank Fowler huddling right back there with other deputies, appears like Mayor Walsh has left the scene at this point.
Yes. And as you can see behind me, the scene is still hot. We do have police. We still have Mayor Ben Walsh right behind us. Multiple cars. We still have police lights. No ambulance as of right now. All 5 victims, again, I'm going to say 5 victims, age ranges 8 to 35, are all at Upstate Medical Hospital. And I am again going to mention that no one is in custody as of yet. As Brendan mentioned, they are currently doing a very, very in-detail investigation. You can see right there, that is Police Chief Frank Fowler in the blue with the Nike hat. They are currently going through all of the details of this event. You can see for about a block or two the police tape. This is currently where the investigation is going. We are on the side of the tape where the shooting occurred. Supposedly the suspects did shoot across the street. Again, it was a celebration of life, 30 to 40 people, and I'm again going to emphasize the age range, 8 to 35, 5 victims, the youngest of which was an 8-year-old girl. And we're going to take you to the map again right now. We are at the 1300th block, the 1300th block of Midland Avenue. Again, we are close to Syracuse University campus. However, we are off, I repeat, we are off campus on the other side of the interstate. More details will be coming later as CitrusTV News gets them. Stay tuned on Twitter at CitrusTV News, as well as at @Z_Lang13. We will have more updates as we hear more potentially from Police Chief Frank Fowler and Mayor Ben Walsh.
Shooting a couple blocks away on the line. That was a 14-year-old girl that was shot.
We are coming live from the 1300 block of Midland Avenue. Brennan Tierney here alongside Taylor Lang for Citrus TV special report. We have a live mass shooting is what the police are calling it. Taylor, you've been talking with eyewitnesses here on scene. What have they been telling you?
Yes, we actually talked with a woman who was on the scene during the shooting. Her name was Lanier Middlebrooks. She said that she was actually outside with the kids when all of a sudden she passed by some of the kids and heard gunshots. She said, and quote, "When the first pop went off, I thought it was at first little firecrackers, then I saw the fire." She said she heard about 10 shots and they all ran inside. She tried to get the kids inside to make sure everyone was safe. She said when the police came, one of the officers thought she was being a little rowdy. She was on the phone with her son who was making sure she was okay. She was thrown to the ground as a pregnant woman. She did not feel very well after that, and she actually went over to the side, and when we talked to her, she did have some puke on her body. She felt very uncomfortable but was refusing to go to the hospital so that she could make sure everyone else was okay.
Okay, and recapping from the top, we have 5 victims. They're all at Upstate Medical Center right now, ranging from age from 8 years old to 35 years old. The youngest is an 8-year-old girl who was shot here on scene. Have you talked to anyone from her family?
We have not. They are making sure that all of the family members kind of get their contacts out first, so we're unaware of their conditions or who those people are. They're probably at the hospital making sure that everyone's okay.
And everyone is currently in stable condition at Upstate Medical Hospital. However, not everyone is in the clear quite yet. There are some people who are currently going through medical treatment at Upstate Medical Hospital. Taylor, the scene, it's been kind of chaotic. There are police cars everywhere around this block. The police tape up right now behind us. There is still a huddle going of some investigators as they begin looking for different bits of evidence that could possibly be around. What are the next steps that we heard from Police Chief Fowler?
So currently the police chief is going back and forth between the hospital where they are and here. Investigators are coming on the scene. The police are not telling us all the details about the victims to make sure that their families are aware of things. They said that there will be an update most likely tomorrow morning, and that as they get the facts, we will be let known as well.
Okay, and there was a celebration of life going on here at this location earlier today in memory of someone who passed away. What was going on there? What was the gathering about before the shots were fired here?
So an elderly man had sadly passed away from cancer, and rather than having a funeral, the family decided to have a celebration of life, and there were about 30 to 40 people at this house, and they were able to come together and celebrate this man who passed away, and sadly there were kids and everyone out on the front lawn, and tragedy happened.
So we have 8 different, an 8-year-old is the youngest person, an 8-year-old girl, a 35-year-old is the oldest. 5 different victims have been transported to Upstate Medical Hospital from here on Midland Avenue. Again, this is Brendan Tierney along with Taylor Lang. We're bringing you a Citrus TV special report. We're about 1.5 miles off of campus. We're just on the other side of I-81 right now. So it's definitely something close enough to campus that it makes a major impact. However, it's not close enough that the university would be issuing any type of orange alert tonight. It does not sound like any students are in danger, despite the fact there is no suspect in custody.
Correct, yes. And the police said that as they give the information, we'll be getting the information as well. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of people from the neighborhood on the scene, confusion over who is around, who is not, making sure the facts are getting correct. So as we talk to the people who are here on scene as well as the police, we will let you guys know as well.
Okay. Again, we are live here on Midland Avenue, the 1300 block. There were tons of shots fired. Police are calling this a mass shooting situation here on Midland Avenue. That's something that you don't normally hear with a shooting like this, but there's enough victims from the incident for it to technically be considered a mass shooting situation. As we take a look behind us now at the live scene, we'll take a step out of the way here. You're able to see the police line up. There are still police lights in the distance. Many of the cars closer to us have moved out of the area. Their crime scene unit is on site here, and they are able to figure out exactly what is happening. We'll take a look at the map of exactly where we are close to campus right now. We see the house just over there where the shooting did occur. We're going to take a look at that map where you're able to see it's close to campus, but it's not adjacent to campus. So no one on campus is in danger at this moment. That is what police are saying. Taylor, you have more on that.
Yes, so Police Chief Frank Fowler told us that, well, the 30 to 40 people were outside at one house. They are saying, the people around us, that at least 3 people in black hoodies ran through houses across the street, and all of a sudden they started hearing about 10 different shots. At first they thought, like I said, that it was firecrackers, but then they realized that people were in danger and they tried to take care of the children. All of these houses in this block are blocked off with police around and tape blocking off all all of the different areas. As we get more information on the specifics, we will get back to you.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Taylor. Here, definitely a developing scene at the moment. We'll have live coverage throughout the evening here on Citrus TV, as well as tomorrow on Citrus TV News Live at 6, and through the day on our social media accounts at Citrus TV News on Twitter, Citrus TV News on Facebook, as well as our Instagram feeds coming through. So here live on scene, we are able to see, you're taking a look right now at the crime scene unit, the investigators huddling up right now. Right now, Taylor and I are going to pass it back to our Citrus TV studios for a full update on exactly what is happening here on Midland Avenue.
Well, thank you so much, Brendan and Taylor. And for those of us joining us right now, welcome to a Citrus TV News breaking news report at 9 p.m. tonight. Up to 7 people were shot on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue near the Syracuse University campus, just about a 5-minute drive away. Family members were gathered to celebrate the life of Richard Harris, who had recently died of pancreatic cancer. Chief of Police Frank Fowler confirms one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl, and she was transported to Upstate University Hospital. Now, we are live on the scene. Citrus TV reporters Brendan Tierney and Taylor Lang, and as well as Zach Lang are live at the scene right now. Again, this is just a 5-minute drive away from the Syracuse University campus, from the South Campus portion of Syracuse University.
Right, very close to campus. To reiterate, here's what we know right now. There are 5 victims that have been shot. According to Frank Fowler, none of them have died yet. They're under care at Upstate Medical Hospital. The age ranges are between 8 and 35. There's also been a shooting near to the scene of this one where a 14-year-old girl was shot. It's unclear whether or not this is connected to the shooting. We'll get more details as those come in.
And the most recent reports that we were able to see, they seem to indicate that the shooting victims are not in critical condition, fortunately. But we, of course, as Chief Frank Fowler mentioned, that is completely up to change.
Exactly. And in that press conference with reporters, we also got to hear from Ben Walsh. He expressed sort of, horror at what has happened tonight. He said that this was just an act of senseless violence. Just sort of very much so feeling for the community tonight after the event.
Absolutely right. And we also want to reiterate that there was a separate shooting close to where this happened. It appears, as of this moment, it appears to be unrelated, but we also wanted to mention that close to the location of the mass shooting that happened tonight in the city of Syracuse, that this teenage girl was shot. We don't know whether this was in connection to the shooting that happened that left 5 people shot, including an 8-year-old girl, again, of which the age range is 8 to 35. But of course, we will update you as we get closer to this. Closer to obtaining these details.
Exactly, and this truly seems to have been a senseless act of violence, as Ben Walsh mentioned. I mean, it just seems, obviously we don't know the details yet, we don't know why this group of people was targeted, but they were there to celebrate a life, and tonight, again, has ended in tragedy. And, obviously we'll have to see the details as to why this has happened or what's come out, but we will have more details with our reporters live. Guys,
right.
So what exactly is happening right now, Brendan and Taylor? Do we have any more details? What's up?
Okay, well, we're obviously experiencing some technical difficulties with our reporters out in the field, Brendan Tierney and Taylor Lang. Zach Lang is also in the field reporting on these facts as they come in. And just once again, to reiterate the details that we have, a mass shooting about 5 minutes away from Syracuse University's campus, and now it looks like we are able to speak to our reporters live at the scene, Brendan Tierney and Taylor Lang.
So yeah, we did have a bit of technical difficulties there, but we are back live on the scene, Taylor. What did we see off the top from Mayor Walsh and Police Chief Fowler?
So they came and they talked to us, and they basically just said that they were going to get more information about the conditions of the people who are in the hospital. There is someone as young as 8 years old and as old as 35 years old, and they said that they are going to be keeping everyone up to date. They are in stable but possibly critical condition. They are not giving us all the information on the victims until their families have been notified. One thing to note is that all of these people were outside, 30 to 40 people, celebrating one of their family members' lives after a battle with cancer.
Okay, yeah, and that was a celebration of life ceremony that was going on here when the shooting happened. They're calling it a mass shooting situation here on campus. Taylor, you were off campus. We are very far off campus here in Midland Avenue. We're about a mile and a half off campus, so there should be no direct threat to campus at the moment. No orange alert will need to be issued. Taylor, you spoke to a bunch of witnesses and one person who got a little physical with police.
Yeah, so I was able to talk to a woman who's actually on the scene in that moment. She said that when she was outside, she heard what sounded like firecrackers, and then she actually realized that it was gunfire. She said her first steps were to actually make sure that all the kids were okay, so she got everyone inside as fast as possible. When the police came, she said she was on the phone with her son, who knew that she was pregnant and was making sure she was okay. She said that then the police became very kind of disgruntled. They believed she was rowdy, and they threw her to the ground. She said as a pregnant woman, this didn't bode very well for her. She said she actually went off to the side and she got sick, and as she was talking to us, you could see it on her pants, and she was very upset at what had happened. She said that they were not very kind, and she was just trying to make sure that everyone was okay.
Yeah, and it does seem everyone on site is okay at the moment. Anyone who was injured in the shooting has been transferred to Upstate Medical Hospital. Now I think we're going to bring in Zach Lang. Zach, you were able to speak to Mayor Walsh and Police Chief Fowler during the press conference, and what exactly were you able to hear from them that maybe piqued your interest a little bit that you wouldn't see in a normal active shooting situation, because this is being classified as a mass shooting?
Well, the one thing I want to emphasize is that this is a very touchy situation right now. We have family members and people throughout the neighborhood gathered right around us. You cannot see them, but I'm promising you they are here, and they are very worried about all the people who were injured in this shooting. And Police Chief Frank Fowler was a little bit reluctant to give some information on some of the people who were involved in this shooting, and that is simply because, again, as I said, is a touchy situation with a lot of family members. I want to emphasize the age range of the victims. There are 5 of which, 8 to 35, the 8-year-old, the youngest of which is a young girl, again, at Upstate Medical.
And everyone is at Upstate Medical Center right now receiving treatment. We do not have an update on their condition, as they're waiting to notify the different families before they provide that to the media and the public as well. We do not have any direct information about another briefing this evening. What can we expect moving forward with the investigation that they talked about?
Moving forward, the investigation, we did speak with Police Chief Frank Fowler and Mayor Ben Walsh. As of right now, they are going to stay on the scene. I do not believe they're going to provide more updates directly to the media tonight. However, right now they are continuing. You can see directly behind us, there are more police vehicles, there are more paramedics, I believe, that are still on site. So as of what we can hear from tonight, I do not know if there's going to be much other than potentially the condition of the victims. Again, they are not releasing the names because, as I have said multiple times before, this is a very touchy situation, a celebration of life that was interrupted by the shooting.
Thank you, Zach Lang. We'll take a step aside, let you take a look what's happening behind us here live, as investigators right now are still searching for any possible evidence on site here in the 1300 block of Midland Avenue in Syracuse. We're about a mile and a half off campus. We'll send it back to the studio in just a moment, but I want you to be able to see what is happening here. The police are starting to move out of the area. Investigators are starting to move in right now to try to figure out exactly what happened and figure out the timeline of events. We're seeing police vehicles move in and out of the area throughout the night. You're able to see one right now that's driving through there. It appears that Mayor Walsh has left the scene. He did speak to some eyewitnesses before he left and reassured them that the city is completely behind them. Frank Fowler is in the distance down there as well. He is leading his investigative unit of the Syracuse City Police Department. We've also seen a few state police vehicles out here. They are helping to establish the crime scene. As you're able to see, a couple of them right now are already starting to videograph the house, exactly what happened there. They're also bringing out cameras with the flash lenses right now to make sure they get all of the evidence possible before anything could happen overnight into the evening hours. So right now we do have another police car that is coming onto the scene, as it appears more and more investigators are coming in. We have a lot of people huddling up, figuring out exactly how they're going to comb through the area. When we talked with Police Chief Fowler earlier, he said he's going to work through starting with the property that the house is on, then moving out into the surrounding blocks, and then from there, the greater area in the search for the suspect, as there could possibly be some sort of evidence that would help them figure out who did this shooting. We have possibly 3 men wearing dark hoodies who came up to this house during the celebration of life ceremony from someone who passed away from cancer. There is possible gang-related activity at this house. One question was asked during the press conference was talking about how there may possibly be gang-related activity. When that was brought up by a reporter, the police chief refused to answer the question, and a bunch of family members said that had nothing to do with it. However, there may still be some sort of connection to that. So right now we're going to send it back into studio where Jack Watson is anchoring our coverage. Jack, what exactly did Mayor Ben Walsh say, and what is he doing to lead the city and his police department through this investigation?
Thanks so much, Brendan. If you're joining us now, we're continuing our Citrus TV News breaking news report live at the scene of Madison Avenue, where at 9 p.m. tonight, up to 7 people were shot on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue near the Syracuse University campus. It's about a 5-minute drive away. Family members were gathered to celebrate the life of Richard Harris, who recently died of pancreatic cancer. Chief of Police Frank Fowler confirms one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl. She was transported to Upstate University Hospital. She and the 4 others with an age range of 8 to 35, they're reportedly in non-critical condition at the moment. Jack, your thoughts on tonight?
Right, Connor. About 25 minutes ago, the mayor of Syracuse, Ben Walsh, and the chief of police, Frank Fowler, were both on scene to give some facts, to give some thoughts as well. And the mayor once again reiterated that this was a senseless tragedy. And as of now, it very much seems like it is, with 5 people in the hospital right now, including an 8-year-old girl and that 14-year-old that was shot. We don't know whether, again, once again to reiterate, we don't know whether that had anything to do with the shooting that happened on Midland Avenue, on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue, which is only about a 5-10 minute drive away from the Syracuse University South Campus apartments and the athletic complex, the Manly Athletic Complex that is just an attachment of the Syracuse University campus.
Exactly, so close. And with that being said, we have yet to hear, or at least as far as we know here, we have yet to hear from DPS as to whether or not this has had any sort of impact on SU or if there was any sort of security threat to us. We didn't get an orange alert or anything of the kind, so we can assume that at least to DPS's assessment of the situation that this is not a problem for students here. But of course, you know, as you said, as Ben Walsh said, senseless violence tonight, you know, of course, another one of those things that doesn't need to happen. It's unclear the motive behind the 3 suspects that we know of, 3 young men in black hoodies. You know, it reports that it could have been gun violence, but again, no one has been able to corroborate those claims. No one has been able to confirm those. So at the moment, it's a lot of speculation as opposed to the motive. But what we do know is that none of the victims have died. They are in non-critical condition, being treated at the hospital.
Right, and once again, it's very early at this point. We don't know whether those 3 men were all shooters, whether there was only 1 shooter, whether there were 2. We don't know the exact number of shooters in the situation, and whether this shooting had anything to do with the one just a few blocks away that unfortunately a 14-year-old girl, or a 14-year-old teenager we are told was shot. Of course, the main story being the mass shooting that happened at the 1300 block of Midland Avenue at just about 9 p.m. tonight.
Exactly, a very sad situation, and it'll be interesting to hear whether or not we get any more information on that 14-year-old girl, if that was a random act or if this is related at all. But again, very lucky that as of right now, none of them are in critical condition. For more information as to how this may have impacted campus and the vicinity in which this shooting happened, we go now to Citrus TV's Rebecca Castor. Rebecca?
Yes, thanks, Connor and Jack. Unfortunately, this is actually very close to campus, and students need to be aware of just how close it is. If we look here at the map, we see that the shootings were here at Maitland Avenue and Foreman Avenue. And while they are a little bit of ways from campus, we have Sadler and BBB and Lawrence in this area, and South Campus is right here. It's a short walk, and we do not know what the current conditions are and, you know, where the people are at right now. And there are no suspects right now, so we do not know where they are. So students, if you are out right now, you need to get inside. I highly recommend that you get inside to safety, inside your dorm or apartment, because as you see right here again, it's Foreman and Maitland Ave, just a short walk, just about a 5 to 10 minute walk from campus, and students need to be aware that they are out right now. There are a few suspects, but please do not know exactly who they are, and their location is not secure right now.
Thanks so much, Rebecca. And once again, to just reiterate that point, very close to campus. This happened about 5 minutes away from that Lamp Athletic Complex, the Manly Complex as it's called. And sirens could be heard from South Campus, no doubt rushing to the scene. And once again, I think it's important to say that no suspects as of now have been taken into custody. No suspects, so we don't really have any sort of name, but we are being told that the suspects are supposedly 3 men that were wearing hooded sweatshirts.
And that's reason to exercise caution if you're out and about at the moment. As Rebecca mentioned, if you're outside, it is probably a good idea to go inside, to go back to your dorm, go back to your apartment, whatever it may be, because these 3 people will be on the run. Police are after them at the moment. Again, we have no names, no one is in custody, and it's unclear what their motive may have been.
Right, Connor, and once again, just to say again, up to 7 people were shot tonight on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue, just 5 minutes away from campus here at Syracuse University. Now, the mayor, Ben Walsh, and the police chief, Frank Fowler, were both on hand to have a few words with the press just about 25-30 minutes ago. And we have, in just a few short moments, we'll be going back to the scene of the crime, the alleged crime. But again, what the mayor is being called a senseless tragedy is now, we're told, to have been a shot. An 8-year-old girl was supposedly shot, and now we go back to the scene with our Citrus TV reporter Taylor Lang. Taylor.
Yeah, so I've actually been able to talk with some of the people who are at the house, the same witness we spoke to before, who was there when the gunshots went off. She said that police told them that it may be a couple of hours before they are able to get back into their house. She said that they just want to get back inside, that they were celebrating the life of their family member, that their kids have school tomorrow, and that they just want to get back to their normal lives, that this isn't how things normally go, and they're just very upset about how things have turned out, and that they just want to get back to their normal lives. They said all of this commotion in the neighborhood are upset, that everything is crazy. There are lights that are going all over the place, and there are people here who are trying to tell the story, but they just want to get back to their normal lives. So once again, they said that they just heard from police that it will be at least another few hours before they get back inside. As you can see behind me, all of the ropes around the police tape are saying that they can't get inside. We have state troopers now that are blocked on each of the corners. You have investigators, as you can see now, moving around in the scene, in the cars, trying to look around the house to see what was going on. We have more ambulances and cop cars and investigators coming in. We have bright lights that are going on around as they're trying to get the scene of what happened. The house where the gathering was, they ended up being outside and across the street. Supposedly 3 people wearing black hoodies started shooting off their guns, and they ran for cover, and now as police and investigators are arriving to the scene, we're seeing more and more commotion, and so we are going to send it back to studio, where we will give you more information on what we have.
All right, Taylor, thank you so much for that up-to-date reporting. Once again, as per her report, we have neighbors there that are distraught at the situation, understandably, a tragedy happening right outside their homes. Let's just go over the facts that we have here. Rebecca, how can this impact students?
This is directly impacting students. It's very close, right off campus. I'm surprised that there hasn't been an orange alert or any email from DPS. I was told about it just recently, and the fact that students, are out and about right now. They're walking back to their dorms, they're going home for the night, and the fact that there has been no notification, I'm very surprised by that.
Agreed. All right, so we have video now coming in from one of our reporters. We appear to have what appears to be a victim entering the hospital on a stretcher. This is live reporting from outside upstate.
Right,
As you can see, multiple personnel outside. There you can see the stretcher exiting the ambulance. It is unclear which crime scene this may be coming from, but they're being wheeled in now.
Right, and again, this is Upstate University Hospital, very close to Syracuse University, and it's obviously a very, very impactful situation for all the students on campus right now that are out and about.
Right, as you can see from right outside the hospital, there appears to be a number of people, as we can assume, concerned citizens, family, loved ones being there for the victims of tonight's senseless acts of violence.
Right, and it's just a few steps away from campus. Like, we can't reiterate that more. You know, students that are out and about right now, this is right next door to us. And the fact that there's just been no notification of it, like, I just don't understand it. But it is breaking news. It did just happen. You know, I just hope that students that are out right now are aware of the situation and are staying safe and are going to get back home to their dorms safely.
Right, Rebecca. Well, we're getting reports in right now that at 12:04 a.m. midnight right now on Friday morning now, there are state troopers arriving at the scene, no doubt to investigate what happened here. And still, the story is still very much in its infancy. There's still a lot of details that are still yet to come through. Again, no suspects have been taken into custody as of now. That at least is what the reports are saying. And of course, we get a shot here of the young students who may have been impacted by this shooting, Connor.
Exactly. There's the state trooper car, lights ablaze. They're there to investigate the situation, and I believe we're hearing that one of our reporters is live at the hospital. We'll be able to hear from him momentarily, with hopefully a few updates on the condition of some of the victims here tonight.
Right, Connor, and we're also being told that there is a heavy police presence at the Upstate University Hospital, again, just a stone's throw away from campus. And it bears saying again how close this is to us. On South Campus, there's several students that live there. This is campus-sanctioned housing. So we should, of course, be hearing from campus through the Orange Alert system and through DPS very soon, is what I'm being told right now.
Of course, yeah, and that would make sense, again, given the proximity, given the fact that they don't have any of the suspects in custody. We don't know their whereabouts at the moment, and, you know, they could, of course, be heading for campus, not to speculate on their whereabouts, but at the same time, I feel that it is important for them to get that information out there to make sure that we're protected, quite frankly, from whatever may be out there.
Yes, especially at this point, since we do not know any type of motive. We don't know where these suspects could be going right now. You know, are they on campus? We don't know. Why has DPS and Orange Alert not put out anything? You know, are they trying to target campus? Are they not? Is this a local incident? Is this a Syracuse incident? We don't know. So I just, you know, I hope that DPS and the Orange Alert system put out a notification soon.
Right. Well, hopefully our officials are working on that. And once again, to reiterate those details that are so important, an 8-year-old girl allegedly shot is what is being told to all of us right now. And up to 5 victims in this shooting that happened on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue. And what we're seeing right now, in the background, you can see a New York State Trooper police car and some officers conversing, obviously, about the situation, which, once again, the police chief, Frank Fowler, has once again said this violence has to stop and that this can't be allowed in the Syracuse community. He was, of course, on scene with the mayor, Ben Walsh. And once again, to reiterate those details for you, it was 9 p.m., just about 3 hours ago, that up to 7 people were shot on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue near the Syracuse University campus. And family members were gathered to celebrate the life, initially, before the shooting happened, of Richard Harris, who recently had died of pancreatic cancer. And Chief of Police Frank Fowler confirms that one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl, and she was transported to Upstate University Hospital. And right now, we, of course, don't have quite as many details as we'd like to about that 8-year-old girl or about any of those details. But we will, of course, update you as the newest information comes in.
Now, according to reports, there were between 30 and 40 people at the event. What we're looking at now is where that event was taking, or rather the house where we believe the shots were coming from, across the street from where the event was taking place. We can see police tape is already up. We have one man in front of the house. We have a few other officers investigating the scene. looking for any sort of clues as to what may point them in the right direction to find the people that have done this. And yeah, they have the flashlights out, they're looking around the ground, just trying to find something, anything that they may be able to pin on the people that did the shooting tonight.
Right, and once again, we don't know the exact number of shooters that there were, but we do know that there was a shooting that happened here on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue, right here near Syracuse University. We are also told that there were 3 alleged perpetrators that were apparently in hooded sweatshirts that had been seen by eyewitnesses. Now, I just want to reiterate how close this is to campus and how much this impacts the Syracuse community, and hopefully our officials here on campus are working on something to keep the campus community informed.
Yes, students need to be aware that if they see anybody, any 3 suspects who are in hooded sweatshirts, they need to alert DPS right away. These could be the culprits, especially if they see any other type of suspicious activity, people looking like they are anxious or that they are in a rush. They definitely need to alert DPS right away. We do not know the current location of these suspects. We don't know what their next move is, where they are going. Students definitely need to be aware that this is happening. It's very close to BBB, Sadler and Lawrenson, and also South Campus as well. They could go in that direction. And students need to be aware that they need to kind of get back into their dorms at this point. And, you know, we don't know what is going to happen the rest of tonight.
Right, that southwestern side of the campus, it is very close to where several thousand students are housed. Again, you could hear sirens coming from South Campus. I know that for a fact, close to that Manly athletics complex. And right now, police, of course, are saying that there are no suspects in custody. Right now, you're seeing a live shot of the state troopers that have just arrived at the scene. And the points that you're seeing on the map right now, besides the large red strip of road, which of course is I-81, is where the alleged shootings have happened. And down south of Oakwood Cemetery there is where those students are housed, where the road becomes East Colvin Street down to Skytop Road. That is South Campus. And even closer to that is the Manly Fieldhouse Athletic Complex, where several SU students and staff park. It's where they keep their cars. It's where the SU Art Building is. There's several student activities that take place there. And once again, we are being told that 6 people are injured and they're currently being treated at Upstate University Hospital, which again is a stone's throw away from campus.
Exactly, Jack. It's so close to home. As you could see on that map, those 2 dots off to the left on your screen, off to the left of I-81 from the view that we had on that map. That's where it happened. We have 2 separate shootings. Unclear whether or not they're connected. 5 shot and injured on Madison Street. Another 14-year-old girl shot just a few blocks away. Unclear whether or not they're related. We don't have any suspects. We have a reporter who's at the hospital, right at the University Hospital right now, who has talked to some of the family members of one of the victims. According to them, they continue to be in stable condition. That follows what we got from the Chief Frank Fowler, who just about an hour ago now said that everyone is in stable condition and there haven't been any life-threatening injuries.
Right, and he qualified that, the police chief did, Frank Fowler, by saying that the status of the victims can change at any time. The injuries could be perceived as more severe by the doctors that are treating those victims. Of course, anything can happen. So, of course, our thoughts are with the victims of this, what Mayor Ben Walsh has called a senseless tragedy. And once again, just to reiterate some of these details, just 3 hours ago, just 3 hours and 15 minutes ago, at 9 p.m. tonight, up to 7 people were shot on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue near the Syracuse University campus, and family members who were initially at the site of the alleged shooting were gathered to celebrate the life of Richard Harris, who had recently died of pancreatic cancer. And the chief of police, Frank Fowler, confirms one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl. She was transported to Upstate University Hospital, and we are being told that no victims are dead as of now, fortunately. And one of our reporters, Greg Bradbury, has been gauging the reactions of some of our some of the victims' family members outside the university hospital, and hopefully we'll have more details from him coming in soon, Connor.
Right, they're not only saying that he's not only able to confirm for us that no one has died yet, but according to that family member who understandably did not want to be seen on camera, it's a tough situation to talk about. She was there at the scene tonight. According to her, the shooting happened outside of the home. So that's where it happened, that's where the gathering was, that's where the shots were fired, and that's unfortunately where 5 people were shot.
Right, that's where it happened, at least according to the eyewitness that was interviewed by our Citrus TV reporter, Greg Bradbury. The family member, of course, as you can see on your screen, says that everyone at the hospital is fine. Again, we want to reiterate that she says that she was at the scene as the situation unfolded, or at least was there in the aftermath. Now, we are also being told that, just to reiterate these details again, 9 p.m. Thursday night. Right now, it is 12:15 in the morning on Friday morning. Now, 5 people shot, an 8-year-old girl, allegedly one of the shooting victims. This occurred at the 1300 block of Midland Avenue. There was another shooting that may or may not have been in connection to this, but allegedly a 14-year-old teenager was also one of the victims, Connor.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's just, one of the other tragic aspects of this. Obviously, when anything like this happens, no matter the age, it's a tragedy, but especially when children are affected, that just sort of, doubles the load in terms of how we're able to take it here, about how family and friends are able to sort of take in what has happened tonight, and just sort of punches home the fact that it was not necessary tonight. No shooting like this is ever necessary, senseless act of violence, and whatever the motive may be, which again, we don't know yet, we don't have the suspects in custody, we don't have anyone named yet, we can almost be sure that the children were not involved in whatever the reason was behind this shooting.
Right, Connor. This story is still very young. Still many details left to be sought after here, but what we are told right now is that the alleged perpetrator, there were 3 alleged perpetrators, at least according to some reports. They were all wearing hooded sweatshirts, black hooded sweatshirts. If those reports, we're not sure whether they were correct or not. This is, once again, still a very young story. We're still trying to collect these details, but the details that we can confirm from Police Chief Frank Fowler as of now is that there were 5 shooting victims, and at least as of now, none of them in critical condition, and thankfully, as of now, none of them dead. But police right now are saying that the shooting they're leaving the possibility open that the shooting could be gang-related.
Of course, yeah, no, they, again, hasn't been confirmed, no motive confirmed, but of course, it could be gang-related. You're seeing right now on your screen live shots of the scene of the crime tonight. As you can see, that police line, do not cross. They have a crime scene set up, several cars inside, and that's indicative of the fact that this was a family event tonight. I'm sure a lot of those cars were transporting the family members that were there to celebrate the life of Richard Harris tonight, and unfortunately a night that ended in such tragedy.
Yes, and students need to remember that this is just a short walk away, about a 10-minute walk away from campus. Sadler, Lawrenson, and BBB are all close to the area, and students need to remember that, we don't know where the suspect is. Police do not know where the suspects are at this moment or where they are going. Students are recommended to get inside their dorms, get inside their apartment buildings, especially those that are on South Campus, as well as they are not too far away either. The suspects are unknown, and what their next move is also unknown, and students definitely need to be aware of the situation.
Right, Rebecca, and once again, just to say these details again, Police Chief Frank Fowler has confirmed that the gender of that 8-year-old girl is female. She is a female, and all of those victims currently being treated at Upstate University Hospital, very close to Syracuse University. And right now we have fresh video coming in from Upstate University Hospital, and you can hear those those ambulance sirens, rather, as you see. The ambulance pulling up on that one-way street to the hospital. We don't know whether that ambulance is carrying a victim or not, but the ambulance obviously rushing as fast as it can uphill to this, the Upstate University Hospital, which is right across from the BBB and Sadler complex, as well as Newhouse. It's right there.
Yes, and we also have Taylor and Brendan Tierney who are at the scene right now. We're going to toss to them to see if they have any updates. You know, they're there live on scene. Taylor, Brendan, do you have any updates for us?
We're having some technical difficulties, unfortunately, but we do have our reporters live, and we'll get to them in just a moment. If you're just joining us now, this is Citrus TV News breaking news. We're giving you live updates from Madison Avenue after 5 people were shot at around 9 p.m. tonight on the 1300 block of that street near the Syracuse University campus, just about 5 minutes away. Family members were gathered there to celebrate the life of Richard Harris, who recently died of pancreatic cancer. Chief of Police Frank Fowler confirms one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl. She was transported to Upstate University Hospital. Now, I believe we have our reporters live now. I think we have some of those technical difficulties worked out. So we have our reporters Brendan Tierney, Zach Lang, and Taylor Lang. Guys, what more do you have for us?
Yeah, thank you. Brendan Tierney here along with Zach and Taylor Lang. We're going to do a reset fully of what happened. The shots went from that side, a house across the way, to that house right there, the white one. That's where a celebration of life was occurring for an elderly person who died from cancer, and that's where we have 5 different people in Upstate Hospital, as you guys have been seeing, that are currently in stable condition, all shot from 3 different people, possibly wearing dark hoodies. There are no suspects in custody. That is according to Police Chief Fowler, as well as Ben Walsh, who gave us a briefing about a half hour ago here on site. We're in the 1300 block of Midland Avenue. Zach, will come to you first. What did you hear from that media briefing with the police chief?
The biggest thing I want to emphasize is the age range of the 5 victims. Again, there are 5 victims all at the hospital right now, and the age range is 8 to 35, the youngest being an 8-year-old girl. No one is in critical condition, according to Police Chief Frank Fowler, and he was very reluctant to give the condition about them because of just the sensitivity of the situation. Right now, a lot of the family members still around here, not allowed to go back into the houses, as police are still looking inside where the investigation is happening. So as of right now, again, it is a very, very sensitive situation. As we said, a celebration of life, and as of right now, not much details are being given out of the 5 victims in this case.
And it's a very fluid situation, as Zach just mentioned. We've had a lot of police behind us here throughout the evening, everything from video cameras, bright lights, searching to see if there's any evidence they can possibly find. Taylor, you were able to talk to some of the eyewitnesses and neighbors of the incident here. What are they saying about what unfolded?
Yeah, so I was able to actually talk to one of the witnesses who was around. She said that she was outside when she heard what she thought were actually firecrackers before realizing there were gunshots. She said she thinks she heard about 10 of them. Her first instinct was to run to the children to make sure everyone was inside. She said once they got inside, they made sure that everyone was safe until the police came. She said they were fully cooperating to make sure everyone was in, and then they ended up the police ended up believing they were becoming a little rowdy, as some of them were answering phone calls, trying to make sure family members were all together. And so she was pregnant, and she said that one of the police officers pushed her to the ground. She said this did not make her feel very well as we were talking to her. She said that she had thrown up on her pants, and we saw it as well while interviewing her. And she just said that the biggest thing is they want to get back to their lives. They want to go back in their homes. She said that her son has a football game tomorrow, and it's a big one, both undefeated teams, and they just want to get back to living their lives and going back to doing what they do, which is living in their neighborhood in a peaceful place.
And we have about a 3-block radius right now that's cordoned off by police. State police have arrived on scene, as well as investigative units from the Syracuse Police Department. That's been happening throughout the evening. More and more people have been arriving here on site after Mayor Ben Walsh said everyone in the Syracuse Police Department will be focusing on this investigation to try to find the possibly up to 3 people who are wearing dark hooded sweatshirts. Now, where we are right now, we are about 1.5 miles off of Syracuse University's campus. We did put a call into Syracuse University. It does not seem like they're going to issue any sort of orange alert. Taylor, you think we're far enough off campus? Nothing like that will be necessary?
Yes, we actually put in with one of the media people for Syracuse University, asking if they would send out an orange alert, which at this point most likely is a little bit late considering what happened, and we are off campus. Sometimes in the past it has been closer than we are now, and there is no orange alert issued. And one of the things we also are interested in is if the university will be sending something to parents, especially considering the definition that this is now being labeled a mass shooting because 6 victims are in the hospital. And so we know now that that the university may send something out to students and parents.
I just want to correct you on there for a second. There are 5 victims in the hospital
I
right now, not
apologize.
6. It was initially reported 6, but it was being confirmed as 5 by Police Chief Frank Fowler.
Yeah, and there are 2 different incidents on 2 different locations. That's what we're also dealing with. There was the 4 people here on this location, including the 8-year-old girl. A couple blocks away, a couple houses, there was another shooting. A 14-year-old was injured in that incident as well. That's all coming together. The police are not sure exactly if the 2 are connected or not at this point.
Yeah, so we noticed that as investigators are searching and going around, they're using very bright lights. They're going through cars, they're going through houses, especially in the connection between the houses where they believe the shooters came from. They're trying to make sure that no detail is left untouched and to make sure that they can get the families in as quickly as possible. We've kind of seen that as state troopers are coming in, there are no ambulances around, and the scene is kind of starting to die down a little bit.
Okay, wonderful. Again, police are stressing that there are still possibly up to 3 suspects that are on the loose right now. No one is in custody from this incident. If you do see anything suspicious or know anything about the investigation, you are asked to call 911 in the Syracuse Police Department. Reporting live on the scene of the 1300 block of Midland Avenue for Taylor Lang and Zach Lang, I'm Brendan Tierney, Citrus TV News. We'll head back to the studio now.
Thanks, Brendan, Taylor, and Zach. We are now going to go to Greg Bradbury, who is live on the scene at Upstate University Hospital to have a latest update on some of the victims that have been transported there. Greg?
Guys, I'm live outside of Upstate Medical Center right now where there's a heavy police presence outside. Now, I just spoke to a woman who was inside the hospital and related to those involved in the shooting. She came out smiling and saying that everyone is doing great in there. Now, what we know is that everyone is in stable condition, including the 8-year-old girl who was involved in the shooting. I'll keep you updated with live updates on Twitter outside of the hospital. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Greg, for that report. So to reiterate the details from tonight, at around 9 p.m., there were 7 people who were shot on the 1300 block of Midland Avenue near the Syracuse University campus. Family members were gathered to celebrate the life of Richard Harris, who recently died of pancreatic cancer. There were around 30 to 40 people there at that event. Chief of Police Frank Fowler confirms one of the people shot is an 8-year-old girl. She and others were transported to Upstate. You just got that update from Greg. Currently, we have no people dead at the moment. They're all in stable condition. Obviously, that can change overnight. Continue to follow Citrus TV News at Citrus TV News on Twitter and Facebook. And be sure to tune in to Citrus TV News live at 6 tomorrow for more details.
Absolutely right, Connor. And we will keep tabs on this breaking news report. And that's going to do it for this live breaking news report from the Citrus TV studio. For Connor White, Rebecca Castor, my name's Jack Watson. Have a great evening, Syracuse.
Good night.